The Miami scene, I think, is one of the best places to be to learn music, to experience various cultures. It helps shape a lot of musicians, even myself. And I think what's troubling about it is that most of our musicians, after a certain period of time, it's kind of like you're forced to leave Miami because there aren't much people, or it's maybe not considered a hub for musicians like New York and maybe LA and so on. So, and it's funny because most of our musicians who would leave Miami would go to New York, and then they become prominent members in big bands and touring, and so so we when we would meet in New York, actually, it's people could already tell a certain sound. These are the guys from Miami. You can hear that. And we're talking about people like Tevon Pentecott, Andrew Atkinson, um, even Troy Roberts, though he's Australian, we still consider him from Miami, anyways. And Gabriel Vivas and Ludwig Alfonso, and I mean, even though he's back in town, but you could always tell the cats who used to live in Miami and or Savannah Monasterio. Um, and I think when you really look at it, a lot of the fellows and girls as well. I mean, didn't really want to leave, but at the same time pursuing that dream of touring and becoming, fulfilling just that dream of becoming this big, a big musician in that sense. Miami, however, does not offer that in a sense, or the work that you have to do to be seen. It's not like, and I could be wrong, but it's not the fact that there's Blue Note and there is Zinc Bar and there's the Vanguard, Village Vanguard, and all these other places where people are just strolling in and an agent just feels like going in there. We don't, it's not like that. It's sometimes almost by chance that you would find an agent in Miami or someone interested in your stuff. Um, and I think that's what makes it so difficult. It makes it very difficult for musicians and also for our scene. And most of the clubs are closing. So that makes it a whole lot more difficult when you're talking about um, the Van Dyke Jazz Club, a staple, and you're talking about the one in Fort Lauderdale, where oh my God, uh, where you had Dr. Lonnie Smith and all these other folks that used to play. I can't remember, but again, these were great places that everybody would go, and you would meet some of the great musicians who are in town, and we would learn and just have a conversation and so on. And it's kind of running out. O'Hara's, that's the name of the club. O'Hara's in Fort Lauderdale. So that's the biggest challenge for us as musicians from Miami, whereas I think no one really wants to leave because the weather is the best part of it. But and it's so multicultural. I think that influenced my music or parts of my music as well, and also my sound as what I want to sound like and who was there before me, and um, because we had like great musicians such as Mike Arthur, the late Mike Arthur, and well, you have Sammy Figueroa. My actual first gig in Miami, my first jam. Um, I sat in a gig with Sammy Figueroa, and he asked me, like, "Could you play?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Okay, set up." And it was Sammy Figueroa, Mike Orta, Nicky Orta. I can't remember who else was on drums, but it was their band, and we played Invitation. I got a crash course in playing in Miami, but that's what it was all about. And it's not that they held your hand, but that love that they gave to me, and which was shared towards all the musicians. So our community, the Miami community, which I'm so proud of actually, is very close knit, and it's just sad that people have to leave rather than it becomes a hub for musicians and um, to really stick around and create an amazing scene.